When I look at the number of people in the US and around the world who have been injected with the experiment, it's over half. And what that tells me is that there is a good percentage of you listening to this who fall into that category. I'm sure it is less than half, as many of you are awake to these matters or are waking up to these matters. So here's what's going to happen. People, more so the people who have been injected, are going to start to lose their minds. You know what? I want to show you a clip, a short clip. You guys know who Nancy Pelosi is, right? She is the Speaker of the House of Representatives. There are two key words there, speaker and representative. So her job is to speak and represent, right? Well, watch this clip. And before you start laughing, I want you to think about this person being one of the leaders of our nation. Watch this.
We're sending stuff over to the Senate. Well, most of the product that we've done is, except now we may have added in the last day or so, and some of what we added is Senate to the bill, like a hearing. Bernie doesn't like hearing. Excuse me, Bernie loves hearing. Manchin doesn't want hearing in the bill and all that stuff. So some is Senate oriented, and then we had the family medical leave. We figured if they're putting things in, then we can put something in.
What the hell?
Manchin doesn't like it. So, so we are getting some bird and privilege. I think mostly we're getting privilege scrub, because privilege scrub is deadly to a bill. Bird is important. You have to take it out, but privilege violation can take you out. So we're again getting that as we go along as well. But when we pass a bill, then they will see it in its aggregate and make some.
Any concerns that any of this is quote messaging, because that they have to
Oh my
take
God,
some
I'm
of those
horrified.
things out regardless, no matter what you send over? You said you weren't
The water's
going to
not
send
gonna
a
help,
messaging bill.
No, we're not sending a messaging bill, but we want to be sure that what we send is not birdable or bird bath or privilege scrub. They're the two
What?
exercises we're getting engaged, bathing exercises we're engaged in, and we're getting good response. There's no bad answer. It is what it is.
Now, what in the solar system did she just say? She has literally lost her marbles. They're all over the floor and people are slipping on them. What? And this is the thing. You're going to see more of this. Not just on TV, but in your daily life. It's like the Tower of Babel. She was speaking Babel. We just got a taste of what that was like back then. Those of you who work in the field of psychology, maybe you can tell me what the term is for what she just did. Because there are a few things here I want to address. There's something feeding on the brain. Now, just to be clear, I'm not really sure what was going on with Pelosi. I was just using that as an example of what it will start to look like once things begin to take a toll on the human brain. I can see external and internal causes for this. The seasons are changing and so is your brain. Some parts of the human brain shrink as the weather turns colder and days grow shorter. But don't panic. Scientists have a few theories why. Scientists have long believed the brain is vulnerable to seasonal shifts. For instance, headaches are more frequent in the fall and spring. Mental health may decline during winter, and some symptoms of brain diseases, such as multiple sclerosis, vary with the seasons. Cognition also ebbs and flows throughout the year. Even healthy people perform worse in the winter on tests for everyday brain functions like concentration and memory. So first thing, as we transition into the winter season, there are changes occurring in the atmosphere. Barometric pressure, which, by the way, would cause changes in brain volume or swelling, depending on if the weather is good or bad. But generally speaking, the winter months do cause changes in the brain. Also, for many people getting less sunlight, that also means less vitamin D. So I would remember to supplement with that. Okay, so that's that. Next is radiation. We are being hit with solar emissions and exotic cosmic rays more than ever before, that we have seen multiple auroras cast above the skies of the northern United States, which is not unheard of, but the frequency of which is unusual. And because we have a lot of this radiation entering the earth at the poles and not enough release, it's causing magma to move, creating issues. That on top of microwave tower radiation from cell towers and 5G, and not to mention Wi-Fi, all that is affecting the brain. Next, our food is poisoned. GMO soy, corn, all these GMOs affect brain function. So there's that. Now, if all that wasn't bad enough, we have people being injected with spike protein, which, in my opinion, is screwing people up in the head. For different reasons, mind you, because this substance has come in different forms depending on the batch distributed. And so while one person develops bleeding in the brain, another catches a brain parasite. Not to mention what the swabs going up people's noses are doing. The spirits of influence are out and about and attacking anyone they can and anyone whose spiritual barrier has been compromised. And they will get into a lot of people's heads. So you can see with all this going on, it is the perfect recipe for the brain to malfunction or decay. You know what's funny? People who take medications, right? Sometimes those medications, like all drugs, have side effects, some mild, some severe. But they do tend to vary from person to person. And when people do experience side effects, people say, oh, it's probably from the new medication. And in most cases, that is true. But for some strange reason, people who are experiencing side effects after getting injected don't want to blame the injection. I've been experiencing a lot of brain fog lately. I know this might sound silly, but do you think it has something to do with the clear, unknown substance that was injected directly into the muscle and fat tissue that's slowly building up a dangerous protein in every organ of my body? Nah. Now, I want you guys to pay attention to this because this is very important. And this comes from the National Center for Biotechnology Information. Can new onset psychosis occur after experimental substance administration? A case report. A 31-year-old single Hispanic male without past medical or psychiatric history was brought to the emergency room by police because of erratic and bizarre behavior. He was found to be anxious, guarded, superficial, and grandiose. He reported becoming clairvoyant, being able to talk with dead people, hearing people drumming outside his house, and the constant voice of a coworker whom he believed to be a paramour. It was later confirmed that there was no romantic relationship. All these symptoms began 1 month ago after receiving the first dose of an experimental substance, and markedly worsened 3 weeks later after receiving the second dose. Previously, he was asymptomatic, working full-time as an office manager. Although functional in adolescence and adulthood, he described himself as a loner, with an inclination to overly spiritual ideas. And able to communicate directly with God, he had a few close friends and romantic relationships. If we read a little further, it says here, this is the first report of psychotic symptoms after receiving an experimental substance. SARS-CoV-2 is known to trigger a powerful immune response, which includes the release of large amounts of pro-inflammatory cytokines. As of January 2021, 42 cases of psychosis associated with this infection have been reported. It has been hypothesized that a triggered cytokine storm may increase the risk of psychosis. Coincidentally, schizophrenia has been linked to a pro-inflammatory status. Do you guys know that I could pull abstracts from these health organization websites? I can pull information from the drug manufacturers and lab websites. I could just read, without commentary, just what they have written, and it would be a horror show. So even the people who want you to take this thing, at the same time, are telling you how bad it is, under the illusion of health and safety. But it's far from healthy and far from safe. Even the mainstream reports are now starting to hint at that. This comes from the CDC.gov. On April 7th, 2021, after 5 weeks use of the Janssen experimental substance under the Food and Drug Administration emergency authorization, CDC received reports of clusters of anxiety-related events after administration of the experimental substance from 5 sites, all in different states. To further investigate these cases, CDC interviewed site staff members to gather additional information about the reported events and site practices. 4 of the 5 sites temporarily closed while an investigation took place. You see, once people start to see these reports, once more and more people are exposed to the truth of what they have taken, this is going to be an ugly mess. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the agenda of mass psychosis, a population of mentally ill citizens. We've just seen an example of this with this crazy concert that just passed, which I will probably do a presentation on and post that up this week on the website, because there are some things there that I want to point out. Many things, actually. But try and understand the psychology of the people there. You know, I saw a clip of a person describing the events and how chaotic it was and how they had to climb up onto speakers and bricks just to get out of the way of the crowd. And after all that explanation, this person ended their statement, "Oh yeah, but it was awesome." Yes, they did. Someone who was there said this. It came out of their mouths. And this is just a tiny example of what we get to look forward to. Now, this brings me to another part of this, the spiritual aspect to all of this. When I talk about spiritual grounding, I'm talking about eliminating the evil things in your life. You know, when I was younger, I used to listen to rap music a lot, all the time. I mean, back when it was good. Now I don't listen to it at all. In fact, I make efforts to avoid it. Yes, I am well aware of the many good rap artists out there. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about who is in the mainstream, because that type of rap music is not really what everyone wants. It's just what everyone is getting. So these lyrics repeated over and over until people know the song, and then after some time they begin to adopt a certain mentality. It comes out in their speech. Now, these days, since I don't listen to that type of music, I don't experience the feelings and emotions that that type of music arouses. So the point is, you have to cleanse these things from your life. Spiritism, I'm telling you, if you are into horoscopes, astrology, mediums, tarot readings, palm readings, I personally would stop engaging in those activities, especially if you do those things and at the same time believe in God. So just stop those things and believe in God and ask Him for answers, because you have to know that sometimes those other methods give you false readings. You see, some people have all these things that I have presented here going on in their lives. They are putty in the hands of these evil spirits, and you are going to see it. Those people who you know that have some of these things I mentioned going on in their lives, you may see them start to slip mentally. And if they get to the point of a breakdown, then that's when these spirits pounce. Look out for anyone who's talking like Nancy. I'm sure we'll see more of this kind of thing. There is more to come. Be sure to visit woodwardentertainment.com and the Woodward Entertainment Store. You can follow me on Instagram at jwoodward. And until next time, friends, stay awake, stay aware, stay safe, stay away from crazy concerts, and I'll talk to you all soon.